Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the REI Network podcast with me, Gavin Timms. Today I have another special guest. He's actually one of my coaching clients. I'm going to bring him over here in just a second. And if you're interested in getting help, guys, go to reinetwork.com/join. reinetwork.com/join. Not only are we getting results with Michael, but a lot of people in our group, we are killing it right now. And it's definitely worth having a conversation to see. It's very affordable to get involved because people are 10 times in on their investment. Okay, so make sure you go to reinetwork.com/join. Right, here he is. Let me bring him over. I have Michael Schwartz. Michael, how are you?
I'm doing great, Gavin. Thank you.
Good. I appreciate you getting on. I know, I drag some people in from the group and it's not what everyone's favorite thing to do, but I do appreciate it. And I think the things that you can share on this episode is going to help a lot of people. And that's obviously our goal and why we really do this. Okay. Yes. So welcome. And just tell us a little bit about you real quick, Michael, kind of where you're from, where are you marketing? What's your background? In life, I guess.
In life, yeah. Well, I'm from the New York, New Jersey area and came down here to Augusta decades ago. And I'm a professor at the State University here. And I don't know, about 3-4 years ago, I got interested in it's not just making more money, it's just sort of breaking out of that. Yeah. And so my business partner who's here, Hans, and I created a real estate business. And so I have 2 full-time jobs. and we started this in late 2017, early 2018. And it was hard for us. We took courses and implemented things and it didn't work. And it's when we discovered Joe, McCall, and you about a year ago that something clicked for us. It felt like a great fit. And we then began implementing our wholesale assignment business, the core of it right now, to your model. And then we began getting contracts and we got deals. And then this year, we began to build real momentum up. So that I guess over the past months, we're averaging about 3 or 4 deals a month that are closed or closing. We have 2 more closings come up. There's been about 11 of them.
Yep.
And so we're still making mistakes.
Yeah, well, but you're making mistakes while making money, right? And that's right. Yes. I mean, it's fantastic. Over the last 2 to 3 months, you've got 9 deals closed, 2 more in closing, which is fantastic. Yeah. Okay, and the big thing is that you're modeling now something that I do in my business. All right, I'm all about outsourcing, right? I'm all about how do I do none of it? How does someone else, do it for me? In terms of having great team members, the importance of a quality team, quality VAs, and be able to really outsource. And we chatted earlier about, you're in phase 2. Kind of the way that I teach it is phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1 is when you're learning, okay, and you're doing everything and you're kind of new. Phase 2 is kind of in a hybrid where you're now starting to outsource. And you're bringing in, certain people into the team. And then obviously phase 3 is where you're heading when you're fully then working on the business and not in it. Okay. And that's kind of where you're heading. And, you've done an amazing job. And again, it just goes to show the good thing is that you just follow direction, right? So it's good for me to be able to work with someone like you because, again, you're not questioning, you're just doing, right? And I think that's the big thing that I see of why you're getting the results now that you weren't getting. And I think a lot of it is, courses can get you so far, the information's there, but you have to be implemented in the right way, right? And with you having a full-time job and then trying to run appointments and do all these things, you can't get any traction, you can't get any momentum. And I think that's probably a good word for you is the momentum that you've got over the last several months has kind of been huge.
No, absolutely. Momentum is a key, and consistency is a key. Yeah, I think that what's happened is it's not just listening and implementing. I think there can be in people little blocks or obstacles about just doing it. So I think I had a little block around, say, hiring boots on the ground in an efficient way and just going for it. And now I have no hesitations about it. I mean, if in the coaching community you're running that we're part of now, which has actually done something to really charge us. It's really kind of facilitated an energy in the group, learning from you and others. That, if someone says, do this with a lockbox, we do it with a lockbox. We don't question that. If someone says, hire a boots in the ground, or go ahead and hire a researcher this way, which we're doing, we do it. We just do what, has worked for other people, and we implement it. And of course we adjust if we need to, but it's really following directions and not hesitating to go forward. Those seem to be two of the biggest factors for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to talk too much about it, but I do want to talk a little bit about it. Obviously, the group, the newer group, right? In terms of our setting, we're doing 3 to 4 live calls a week.
Yeah.
I mean, give me, and I've not ever asked you this, right? I've never asked you this, but what do you, and you give your honest opinion.
Yeah.
But what do you think about it? I mean, I feel it's game changing because I'm the one that's deciding to do it, but so I'm biased, but what do you truly think? I mean, no one else is doing it.
It's A+. I've been telling people it is just, I can't even explain exactly what it's done, but it's not just the advice, it's being part of the calls, and for lack of a word or precision, it transmits a kind of energy into our firm and clarifies micro moves like how to scale, and it's not that simple. Actually, you'll just kind of go in a riff about something, and you'll actually be talking about these nuanced moves that have to be made to scale correctly, right?
Yeah.
And it's not self-evident, and it's not something you could list. It's
you can't put it in training, can you?
No,
you can't put it in a course.
No, even the follow-up that you guided us through that we're implementing now is not, it can't just be done in a video. And there's also a community intelligence that's going on here. I mean, there are people who are approaching it. This is what I want to say. One of the many things I appreciate is that you're saying there isn't just one way to be successful. Yeah. So it's not a rando thing, but it's not a, fundamentalist thing. It's, there are options. You have to style it for your market, style it for your personality, but there's still things to follow. And that kind of balance is just amazing in the group. I'm very grateful for it. It's changed everything. Yeah. Even like yesterday. Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. And thank you for sharing that. Because I try and get feedback, because that's what I thrive off. Whether it be good or bad, everyone needs feedback, right? You operate off feedback to go, okay, I'm on the right track, or what do I need to do? And I do feel like the model now is game changing, because the results of people, I mean, we're talking, I just did a podcast with Terry. They've got 85 to 100,000 in closing in 1 month. That's insane.
That's nice.
You know what I mean? That's great. Yeah. And if they can do it, well, of course, and you're doing it and other people are doing it, it's the knock-on effect of saying, look, we've got to think bigger. We got to build phase 1 is doing a deal. Phase 1 is going to go and get a contract. Phase 1 is getting one check, right? But we need to go through the phase of actually building a business that serves you, your family, in the way you want it to be done. And that's we have different, again, when we talk on these calls, not everyone's the same. Are you a person where it's just you on the ground? I'm all down for direct mail, right? But if you have business partners and partners on the ground, you got this and this, you have to watch your marketing costs, because it'll again, have someone else in the group that was turning 750,000 a year, making 100,000 a month, 100,000 of that himself. It's not good enough as an owner, right? So you have to get this balance right. And so I appreciate that. And so thank you for sharing that. And you said something that was actually huge. and it speaks to me. It speaks my language, because I 100% agree with you. You've actually now started outsourcing and partnering with people on the disposition in your business.
Yes.
And you're making more money.
More money.
And obviously have more time because you're not doing it.
Yeah, I can work on the business for the first time.
So talk about that. What's going on? What are you doing? Again, you don't need to name anyone, but just tell us like the kind of person you're working with and things.
I don't want to betray trusts, but yeah. So the basic is that when we started hitting stride a number of months ago, I was the disposition manager, and we had a okay buyers list, but we were also reaching out to people and build relationships. And so we had 2 to 5 people I could talk to, which really limited, what people would pay. So we were able to move the properties, but not for as much as we might have. And I had to spend a lot of time working it. And so without getting into the specifics, we J-feed on the last of 6 closings. And they had access to something, and I saw their email and their process, and I went, "Whoa, these guys are great!" And we JV in them on every disposition now, all our wholesaling in this market. That's the agreement, and we also bring them if they want to take a property for themselves. Fine, we'll talk about it and work it out. So because they also do some flipping and some other things, and so that's part of it too. We're fine with that. Yeah. And what's happened is that, first of all, we're in conversation with them. They know this market like you couldn't believe it. They know every street. So we're learning a ton. And we've gone up 40% in our profits, even though we're sharing the assignments. And some of them were tricky, and they've had some tricks up their sleeve. So I'm learning a lot from them and with them. Yep. Yep. So, and I have time now. I'm building these other non-local markets, and we're implementing other exit strategies. It wouldn't happen if I hadn't done this. It would not have happened unless I in your direction to outsource.
Yeah, because you have your time. People don't realize that when we talk about 3 or 4 offers, it all makes sense in an ideal world, but you have to implement. Like I had a call yesterday with a potential client that might be joining us, and he's never done a deal. He's trying to do 4 different strategies. I said, you have to master one. You've got to get results. And the thing is, especially in a market like yours, and I remember you messaging me, and I said, stick with wholesaling and get it down. And then it will allow you, when you outsource, to focus on the creative to where you want to go. And it's a stepping stone in the right direction to be able to build on that. And you're exactly right. You've took something that's got 40% now, you're making 40% of the overall profit more, and you've just completed and handed off a disposition that you were spending hours and hours and hours a day on, that you've eliminated, and you're making more money. So it's a brilliant move for you to then take that time to then refocus on the next phase, the next thing that you need to work on.
And that's what we're doing. We're going to implement lease options. And we're going to implement seller financing, and then maybe some other exit. We're going to implement other exit strategies to maximize our list and to diversify the kind of list we're drawing upon to market to. So, I mean, sky's the limit. I mean, we don't want to go too fast ahead of our skis, but that's what the group is here for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we'll tell you, as long as every move that you make, if it's building you, is good. You never want to make a lateral move, meaning something else suffers to create something else, and then you're still at the same stage, right? So, which I see all the time. People say, "Oh, I do 4 wholesale deals a month. I want to do lease options." Cool, but I need you to do 4 deals a month plus X amount of lease options. I don't need you to do 2 wholesale deals a month and 2 lease options, because you're making a lateral move. It doesn't make any sense. Right. So, making sure that we, build on that. So that's really important. So obviously outsourcing, building the right team. Let's talk about this. I'm very big on every call pretty much I teach on. I always give my team credit and say, I'm only as good as my team, which is the complete truth, right? It isn't me. I've had the ability to put the things in place to make things happen, but it's them now, like any business, they are the ones that are making it happen. They're doing the day-to-day things, and I'm only as good as them. If I lose them, I'm nothing. I'm back in the seat, I'm back in the saddle, and I'm going at it like I was years ago when I started, right? So talk about that. Talk about, what are you doing with your outsourcing? How are you talking with your team? What does the team look like?
Oh, great. Well, first, my partner, Hans, we've been doing this from the beginning together. And we're really good complements as co-owners. I kind of want to press forward, and he knows how to ground it. So it's a real synergy there, and I'm really appreciative of it. And he's also doing the acquisitions, and he's really good acquisitions. And so, and then we've built a team around us, and we praise them all the time. And we have 2 cold callers, and they are crushing it all the time. And they go out of their way to do extra things, and we're taking care of them, and then we're bringing a third one in who had left and is coming back, and she is going to take care of the entire follow-up system. So we've got, the front line of marketing are cold calling, and now we'll have this follow-up. And then it took us 5 people to find a brilliant admin VA. And he's also a genius at texting through batch leads. And I mean, between the cold calling and the batch leads, we have more leads than we can handle. And
there we go.
We meet every week. We're in constant communication through Skype and chat and email. There's always good exchanges, and the sincere thanks to them. I mean, it's really sincere. They're amazing, kind people. So we feel great about it. We don't want to lose them. We value them as people. Not value them as people. They're wonderful people, and we want to make sure they're okay and everything's all right with them. And I mean, they're the reason we're here.
Yeah, I call them the front line, aren't they?
They are
at the end of the day, the front line. Like they bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for me in my business, and they will for you in your business, and they're the generators, right? So they're just as, without them, again, nothing else works. This is a process. This is like line work, right? Everything has to fit. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. It has to fit for it to work. If there's something off, it breaks. Right. And that's the key. They're on the front line, and it comes down in the process into Hans on the phone, into Dispo to go again. And now what you're learning is, once you've got this machine, is, one of the things that you did struggle with, but you've now identified, is make sure that you're feeding the machine, feeding the records, feeding the list to keep spitting leads out. Because if you're slow on that, again, your lead flow will drop. And it will start to go down because you don't have lists prepared to keep feeding.
That was a problem.
You identified that.
Yeah, definitely. We were cruising with our lists, and then I was figuring what other lists to pull, and I decided to explore the government lists that people aren't accessing so much anymore. And we've been pretty successful getting them, but a little slow I was slow in getting them up, I think, and or just a little behind the curve. So what happened is we hit a really bad list. I mean, just terrible, and we didn't have something to pivot to fast enough. Mm-hmm. And it is a momentum game. We're seeing a little bit of a gap in contracts because of that. Right now, it's literally, there's a delayed effect. Mm-hmm. And it's discernible. And so we got lists ready to go every direction. And the second one doesn't work, we'll switch it right out and go with another one. And so we learned that lesson. Yeah.
I normally see that, normally 3 months you're affected. It's like when people say, I'm so busy, I'm going to turn all my marketing off. You're not affected next week or the week after or the week after that. In 3 months, when you go again, that's when you'll be like, what's happening? My marketing's going now. Because of that gap, 3 months later, that's when you hurt. And then you start making calls and going, well, hold on, we're marketing. What's going on? What's changing? And you don't pick up that it's not what you're doing today. It's what you miss doing because that pipeline has got too much of a gap. So you come to a screeching halt. We made the same mistake. That's why, again, I talk about it, because we did the same. We overwhelmed with leads. I swapped marketing up and we said, right, stop this, let's do that. And we ran with it, and it got all upside down and backwards. And then next thing, thought I'd saved it, and then we hit a lull, and we're like, oh, here we go. And everyone's messaging me, the team's going, what's going on? I said, look, this was from what we did in December. Just give it a few weeks and we'll be back and going. Just when you just need to, can't do anything about it. We just got to ride the wave. But it won't, again, you learn and you go, it won't happen again. So so that's really good, really good.
Yeah, the way I would frame it is you have to have stopgaps.
Yeah.
You have to anticipate from learning where things might bottleneck and or fall away, and you have to have immediate pivots. Pivots isn't a good word, I think. You have to pivot very fast and not be afraid to.
Yeah, absolutely. You go to you know, you have your backstop list, your go-to list. Everyone's got a go-to list that you just can perform. Just get it going, right? You have a go-to list. And then, and you'll know, and as you grow again, when you get into that final phase of really sitting on the business, you're then going to start developing leaders. You're going to then start going, okay, this person's going to run all the lists for me. This person's going to do that. Like for me in my business, Rod runs all the marketing in terms of the lists. He tells me, hey, we're running low. Hey, we're about to hit third time. We need to prep this. So we're having them communication. So I might not have my eyes on it all the time, but somebody else does. Yeah. And we're in that constant communication.
Yeah, I think we're going in that direction. Our admin VA is fantastic. And I mean, he's even excited about taking on the marketing for lease options.
Yeah.
He's watched some Joe videos and he's just like, yeah, man, let's do this. So yeah, I think we're, again, a hybrid position, but some of that's beginning to happen. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. So, and I'm excited to see what you do with the creative side. We're actually working right now, something that I've always been against, but we're testing, is we're actually training a VA right now that is solely going after creative finance, which I've always been against because it takes more training to do. I've always been bring general leads in, and then you on the exit strategy will determine, you know, which way to go. But we have someone going through like old, let's say dead leads or cold leads is a better word, and going down the creative finance, making sure that they're using the right terminology, but not too deep that they don't have to explain too many things. So we're testing that. So once I have that dialed in, I'll be sharing that to our group as well.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. To say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how it's working. So we're actually tailoring more of the conversation from the initial frontline people to tailor creative finance, which is, it's going to be huge if we can get it dialed in, and it's going okay. So we'll see. We need another month or so to really iron it out. So I'm excited about that, but I'll keep you posted.
That's great
on that. Obviously tomorrow, as I'm recording this on Wednesdays, we do Creative Finance Day. So obviously we have that tomorrow. So we talk everything from sub 2 owner finance, anything creative, analyzing deals that you've got. So if you have any deals that you want us to kind of, hey, this might work, we'll look at it live and kind of give you any feedback as well. So I'm excited about that. Cool. So I guess a couple of things to tie us up here. You know, we've talked about outsourcing, you know, building a quality team. We've talked about consistency in marketing, following an actual blueprint that works, right? That is exactly the same. What you're doing is exactly what I do in my business, which is really good. But what would you say if someone's struggling, someone's ready to get started, someone's new, someone's in the trenches of can't get momentum? What would you say? What words of encouragement or advice would you be telling them if you could have a say when you were in that position? I guess, what would you be telling yourself?
Be very honest about what you're doing, and be very honest about where there might be small successes and where it's not working, and then find the right mentoring to bring you along. And I can say that you and Joe have been just perfect for us. And part of it is being systematic, is quickly having an orientation to build systems slowly, silo by silo, piece by piece, but not to spend the rest of your life in a mom and pop struggle. Yeah. Not to leap out of it, but not to just keep thinking I got to do everything, or who I'm working with has to do everything. I think that those would be some of the things we learned. Yeah.
No, that's really good. That's great. You nailed it. I think we talk about egos. I don't know what it is. We feel that we need to be able to do everything, and we don't, right? We need to know. I think as an entrepreneur, it's not about going alone. It's about doing things and putting things in place that are going to get you the results, right? Yeah. And I think that's the biggest game changer thing for you, right? Is understanding, because when you start, you think you need to know everything, and you need to know basics, right? You need to know, there's people in my team even now that know the CRM better than me, and I'll just get them. If I need something doing, they'll come in and do it, right? But I understand what I want it to do. I need it to do these things. Now I need you to go and make it do it, right? Yeah. So I understand what I need. I might not know every single step and every single function, but do I need to? No, because it's not my strength, right? My strength as a visionary, as an implementer, is to be able to go, this is what I need. Just like you're implementing the follow-up, right? Which is going to be another game changer. When that's implemented and working and you're far enough down the line, give yourself another 3 months and you've got 6 months of follow-up. That's when you're really going to start seeing it just be like, oh yeah, this one came in, this one. These are just extra deals from that are just profit, because you've already spent the money. Makes sense?
Right. There's no marketing really for them. It's been
they're already in.
It's been accomplished.
Yeah. We've already spent the money. They're already in the pipeline. It's just profit. So you've got your new ones coming in with your consistent marketing going. And then all of a sudden you keep getting these 1s and 2s and 3s coming in from nowhere that the team brings in. We just contracted one from 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years. Right? It's insane that, and it's just going to make a massive difference to this year, right? If we can make 50, 60K on it, it's going to make a massive difference. We didn't know was coming. It wasn't new marketing, right? So this is exciting thing that money's in the follow-up, right? Real profit is in the follow-up. And when you get that and get that going, that's then when you can literally, you start making moves,
I would say that I have heard the money's in the follow-up from so many people. And I've, the marketing data in general with industries about 6 or 7 touches, a certain amount of time, and so on. Mm-hmm. But with you and Joe, especially now with you, it's the first time that it's been made concrete and be able to actualize it. It's not just floating in the sky. The details, the big picture and the details, one can implement. And I'd say that is one of the many gifts we've already gotten in being in the coaching group. So I just want to add that. Yeah, I think
I appreciate
that is just huge, to really know how to do that, and then to hire someone who can do it and let them go forward. Yeah.
And and this is what you're going to have. I'll tell you now, like your next, part of what you're doing is getting Hans out of the acquisition, right? And that's going to be that's kind of when you get to the mountain, and this is now where it's now the way it gets hard, right? Because now this is a big step in terms of ability of closing and doing it in the right way, like we talk about, making sure that you bring them on and the baby stepped in and he still leads on the phone before making that transition out. But when you really say that's what their core focus is, and then you get 1 or 2 acquisition and all they do is lock up deals, you can really turn marketing on at that point. And then that's when you're going to start cranking 6, 7, 8 a month, and going from there.
I'm already thinking about acquisitions.
Yeah, you should always be looking.
I'm already thinking of, first maybe to get someone to, when Hans gives the okay, he's in charge of that, to get someone to supplement him.
Yep.
and then to train them up and see if they're good, and then maybe bring them up full time, and then bring in a second person part time, and then bring them in full time, and then Hans can manage that whole side of it, right? That would be he'd work outside the system on that side of the business.
Yeah. And be huge, because then he will, because you do get burnt out, even if you're a phone guy, you love talking to people. All I do is, whether it be on coaching calls, talking to you here, I talk. That's all I do, right? I don't talk. I just talk. But it gets, old in acquisition, and especially is that when you're a business owner, because you while you're on the phone, as important as it is, you can't make moves, right? And you can only scale. You can only scale a business when you have time to work on doing it, right? If that's what you want. Not everyone wants to scale, but you can only implement the next thing if you have the time. If you're stuck in the business, you can't implement it, because all you're doing is working harder. And the more you implement, the harder you work. If you're fitting in all these positions, you just got to work more. So you're making more money and you're working harder for it. You need to say, how do we make more money and how do I have more time back? That's the ratio that you need to run at. And you're going to get that.
I've had my first little taste of that.
Yeah.
And I enjoy working on the business. I mean, it was fun doing dispo and it's fun taking photos, but it's more fun kind of knowing where you're going and not knowing where you're going.
Absolutely. Yeah. Making sure the people are doing it, and it's much fun, when I get a message saying, hey, we locked up a deal, we've seen it, we've locked it up, we close in 2 weeks, projection on this is going to be 60K net. They're great calls, right? They're not all like that, don't get me wrong.
Good.
I didn't lose my hair just from it going well. I do have the odd I do have the ones that are just more like, I don't want to know, can we not talk about this deal anymore because it's not going so well. So, but you have to run. You're learning all the time, and you're only, the exciting thing is you haven't even got to the stage yet, and you're using dispo, obviously the dispo guys, but you'll then start to learn ones you want to pick up. You'll start buying, maybe holding. You might want to flip. You might want to wholesale, right? And use them as a dispo when you don't want to do anything with it, and the ones you want, you'll take. And you'll maximize them profits. But that's the time, and start looking for private money. But again, they're down the line. They're moves that you'll make when you have the time to implement that as you grow, if that's a vision you have.
No, I think our agreement with them is around wholesaling and giving them some properties here and there. And that's great. But you want to do a lease options or a seller finance, that's a different situation. And I'm very interested in that. And especially in the smaller towns. Yeah. I'm interested in doing something like that in the smaller towns. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm glad I have a community when I don't know anything about this, or minimally, I can get some guidance. It makes a big difference for me.
Oh, huge. Huge. And it's and one thing I remember from you, actually Gabe, who's on my team, told me, you didn't actually tell me this, and I'm like, I don't know how to get this out, because I'm not like push sales guy anyway. I don't even teach it that way. But when you joined the group, you were like, this is way better than I ever imagined. And I'm like, how do I get that? That's awesome to know and to hear, because that's the feedback you gave him when he asked you. But it's like, how do I get that message out? And because I'm not the guy that's going to oversell, and I'd rather over deliver, right? Under promise and over deliver, than give it this is this and this. But you made your words at that time like, well, yeah, how do I get that message out? Because it is, you probably would have joined sooner than you did, knowing what we do, right? And but everything's all about timing for everybody. So
this particular iteration is new, so which is also exciting, be part of that. It's
awesome. So, well, look, I know you're busy. I appreciate your time. I'm going to let you get back to, making deals happen and growing the team. So, Michael, I appreciate you. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing. I think people are going to get a lot from this. Again, a lot of people are in the same position, right? Everyone's trying to achieve something in real estate. And I think everybody wants to work on the business and not in it, right? It'd be crazy not to have that vision. So thank you so much. And guys, if you are interested, remember, go to rinetwork.com/join if you want to get involved. We have an application process. It's an interview process. You have to be a good fit. It is not about if you have the money, you have to be a good fit, because again, these are Zoom calls. Everyone's on camera. If you want to be on camera, everyone's interacted. So it's a different format where we only want, obviously, nice people in the group that everyone's going to get along with, and has the same, has the same vision of being successful and helping each other out. So that's our goal. So rinetwork.com/join. Michael, again, thank you so much. And I will see you on tomorrow's call.
Yeah.
All right, bud.
Yeah. Take care, buddy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.